Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this special webinar from the International Port Community Systems Association, exploring the future of data exchange between logistics stakeholders. I'd like to thank Ebsco and their team for working with PTI to present you this webinar and their continued collaboration with us here at Port Technology International across our editorial content and our events. I'd also, of course, like to congratulate them on their 10th anniversary. Our chairman, Hans Rook, and the other speakers will be providing a lot more detail about the association's achievements to date and what the future holds for them. As with all of our webinars, we will have a live Q&A session following the presentations, so please do make this as interactive as possible by using the questions tab on the right-hand side. Plus, if you're interested in speaking one-to-one with Richard Morton, Secretary General at the Association, please let us know in the comments section and we will be able to facilitate this for you. Finally, generously, Ebsco has purchased up to 30 Port Technology subscriptions, which is going to be giving out to some of those in attendance today. If you are particularly interested in access to Port Technology International's journals and exclusive subscriber content, do let us know in the chat. I'll now hand over to our chairman, Hans Rook, to introduce the webinar and our fantastic lineup of speakers. Over to you, Hans.
Yes, thank you, Beth, for the introduction given. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. But before I will say a welcome to you to the webinar, I have an announcement to make, a very sad one. Yesterday, we received a very sad message that Dominique Le Breton of MGI Marseille died caused by a road accident this weekend. We are all shocked by this news, knowing Dominique not only as a business partner, but especially as a friend. An IPCSA family member in heart and soul. Our thoughts go to his family, his friends, and all the colleagues of MGI. We will remember Dominique as a cheerful and positive friend, as a proud representative of MGI. Today, you will imagine that our thoughts are with him and his family, and I'm sure he will sit on our shoulder during this webinar. May I ask you, in memory of Dominique, for 1 minute of silence. Thank you. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for the respect shown. And as I said to you, he will be on our shoulder during the webinar. But back to the reality of today. Welcome at the IPCSA webinar hosted by Port Technology International about the future of data exchange between logistics stakeholders. A special welcome to our founding members and our global members on this special event. Today, your IPCSA celebrates the 10th year anniversary. Your IPCSA, because it's our task to give you as members, TCS, cargo community systems, single window operators, a face and a voice on an extensive international platform. Therefore, 6 founding members worked closely together to create the European Port Community System Association in 2011. This to get PCS, cargo community systems and single window operators known within those organizations that announce recommendations, regulations, and legislation. From childhood, grown up, to an adult association, we are today recognized as an important party representing global operators that form the critical infrastructure in the sea and airports for enhancing trade facilitation. Creating the optimum performance of ports in handling cargo, ships, and air freight. We are very proud to have achieved the special NGO status on UN level, and apart from this, we are considered and recognized as experts on levels such as APEC, EU, IMO, ICAO, IATA, FIATA, ISO, World Economic Forum, World Customs Organization. We work close together with associations like FONASPA, the Inter-American Community on Ports, CIP, Procomex Brazil, development banks, and countries to assist them in establishing port community systems as an important part of the port infrastructure. Today, IPCSA counts around 50 members globally, representing about 500 sea and airports, inland terminals, and border crossing. Of course, we look forward to extend our group of members to be able to represent them and bring them in contact with their colleagues to exchange views. Let us stay your voice on those important platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, I will hand over now to our Secretary General, Richard Morton, who will open the floor for our speakers and of today. I wish you all a very pleasant and informative session. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here, and it is my honour to have acted as Secretary General for the International Port Community Systems Association for the last 10 years. What I will do now is just share with you a bit about who Ebsco is and where we came from, so that you can actually understand more around who we are. So as Ebsco, we formed in 2011, 10 years ago. It seems like yesterday to many of us. And our role has changed and adapted in that time. We came from having 6 members representing in 5 countries in Europe to over 50 members operating in well over 50 countries today. That's a huge expansion. We went from 20 seaports to well over 500 seaports, airports, inland border crossings, and single windows around the world. We went from those 6 members in Europe and their users to members across the world, from China, such as Lodging, one of our members in China, to some of the smallest, Port St. Martin in the Caribbean. In excess of 2 billion electronic messages a year were exchanged when we first formed between those 6 members and their communities. That's now is in excess of over 50 billion messages of all types, of all technologies, of all ways. And if we're looking just at container cargoes, over 500 million TEUs go through our member systems on an annual basis. But we are a community of communities as an association. We talk about the Ebsco family, Protec. Protec was a group that was formed in the 1990s to develop EDI messaging for port authorities. They created those well-known messages such as Burman, WASDIS, waste disposal, and also the IFTD GN message. As of the beginning of this year, they integrated into Ebsco fully, and we now work with all of the Protec members in order to make sure that ports and port authorities have the right messaging, technology, and data formats and standards available. But we aren't a standards body. We just support those international standards bodies that are there. We also needed to change and adapt ourselves. When we formed, we were sending emails and PDFs of newsletters. In recent years, we created our own bespoke private social media network just for our members, so we have a secure and safe place to communicate with others. And within our own community, we have trusted friends on there, sharing their news, sharing their information. It brings our family together. And then in the last year, we have done one specific initiative, plus many others, of course, on trying to connect our members for global exchange, supporting the transparency in the supply chain. And as Hans has already mentioned in his opening, we have representation from across the world. We formed in order to work with the European Commission and their new 2010-65 Maritime Single Window Directive. But since then, we've expanded, covering all aspects of the world, all modes of transport, all organisations, and work actively in promoting the neutrality and trusted nature of port community systems, cargo community systems, and single windows around the world. And we thank all of those organisations, some are here today, who have supported us in that journey. And it has been a journey. But we have a saying in Ebsco: in order to stay the same, you have to change. We could have formed 10 years ago and stayed what we were doing. We formed as a European association, but within 3 years we became international because it was recognised we were getting members from Australia, Israel, Ukraine, Africa, South America, North America. And so we needed to create that global recognition of the value of sharing data in the logistics sector. We were recognised at a European level and now at an international level. We started off with just members as port community systems and port authorities. We've led to cargo community systems and airports as members, and single windows. So we have public-private partnerships as members, all sharing and exchanging their experience and knowledge worldwide. Majority of our members focused on EDIFACT when we started 10 years ago, and now looking at the newer technologies, blockchain, and particularly API. And we went from just commenting on policies to actually influencing policies at regional, national, and global levels. But as Ebsco, it's not just about talking, it's about action. So we have to follow those things up. It's about making sure that we can actually develop those initiatives that we have. We thank all of our members for all of the work that they have done over the years, and in order to support us in all of the initiatives, from our blockchain initiative for the blockchain bill of lading, through to standards definitions, standards message formats, and the work that is done within all of the international organisations. Hans and I can't do this by ourselves. We are very much reliant on our members. And finally, now we're focusing around our network of trusted networks, which aims to facilitate a neutral and global scalable collaborative solution amongst port community systems and single windows around the world. It's a governance platform, not a data platform. It's about sharing your business and your data across borders in an easy and simple way. And that is something that we believe truly in, that actually, in order to support the global logistics community, as all of our members, in that we need to support the sharing of data across borders. And with our membership now in over 500 sea and airports in over 50 countries, we're in a key position to support that. So I wanted to just share with you all of the work that has been done over the 10 years, briefly, and later on you will hear from the speakers about where the future lies. But to me, it is just an honour to have so many friends around the world supporting the work that Ebsco does and that I and Hans do, and would like to thank you once again for all of the support. Back to you, Hans.
Thank you, Richard, for the opening words and your explanation about the things we are doing and we still have to do and where we are going forward in. Ladies and gentlemen, we have today 4 speakers telling about various subjects, about network trusted network, where Richard already hit it upon. What is a real single window today? About the IPCSA, so beautiful presentation from Ahmad. And last but not least, we have Uwe Liebschner telling about our customs experts telling about what we are doing on customs level. First, I would like to give the floor to Javier Gallardo. Javier is the CEO of Portnet Barcelona, one of the founding members, and also our vice chairman of IPCSA, and of course, a dear friend. Javier, will you bring into the present and future of data exchange in seaports and how to exchange information between various parties? Javier, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Hans, for your introduction. It's a pleasure for me to participate in this webinar. First of all, I want to join again my condolence to my friend Dominique. We have lost one of us. It's deep. I'm very, very sorry. Well, the aim of my presentation is to present what's been the data exchange in the seaports in the past, today, and in the future. So during this, let's say more than 40 years than the PCA are working in our ports, we have been doing a lot of things. In this slide, you can see the 3 columns that shows the past, the present, and the present or today, basically on the 20s. When we started in the past 80s, we have the PCS, we have the carrier systems with the terminals and the administrations. Nowadays, we have more systems working in our ports. Basically, the concept of the single windows, the national single window, the European single windows. And now we are also seeing how new global trade portals are joined in that interactions in a more global scale. Also, the architecture of this system has been evolving from the typical one, the hub and spoke architecture. And now we are seeing how the distributed architecture based on the distributed ledger or blockchain are appearing and also taking place in a way to show how the information is flowing worldwide. Also, our centric database stored in our database centers are evolving to a distributed database. So again, the blockchain technology, this is disrupting technology, is shaking and shocking the actual global trade and the global exchange. Of course, we are seeing how this evolution is moving. So based on this architecture of hub and spoke, the typical architecture of messaging, message forward and store is moving to the information is stored in one place and is retrieved using a URL. So now there is no need to resend and replicate the information going through. So basically, we are seeing that information is stored somewhere and it's located, searchable, and then you can retrieve. Of course, we are seeing how the things are also evolving in terms of security. In the past and nowadays, all the stakeholders in the ports trust in the PCS, the PCS was considered a third trusted party, but now we also introduced the concept of the trusting technology on the blockchains. So this is again where the technology is creating, is putting a new tool to create more secure environment. In the past, we have PCs, we have servers. Now the mobiles and the phones are taking a big place on our communication. But now we'll see that in the future, nowadays, any device connected to internet will be a source of information, and this information will be dealt and managed by the PCS. Of course, again, new evolution in terms of the network connectivity. In the past, we have the LAN, the WAN. Now the 4G and the 5G are providing this is great connectivity to the information and the trade. We also are the information that is exchanging is exploring. The volume of data is increasing every day. In the past, we were talking about kilobytes, megabytes, but now we can talk about gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes. So the volume of data that we are transacting is huge and it's increasing every day. Also, the formats, the formats of the message has been increasing. As in the past, we were used to work on EDIFACT, NCX12. Nowadays, we introduce XML, JSON, but now today we also have to include natural language. So we are able to process natural language in part of our messages, and this is all will be a reality in the future. The files we used to transact files in text, but now we transact files in text, binary, but also we are going to manage video and streaming. So this is another great evolution. Of course, we are using we were used to use communication protocols, FTP, MTP, then appears the HTTP, the SMS, and now we also are able to share information using another communication protocol, even based on social network like Telegram or WhatsApp or Facebook. Here it's again, I want to highlight this concept. In the past, we were very focused on the port optimization, how the information makes our port more optimized. Nowadays, we also focus on how to optimize not only our port, to optimize our hinterland. We were talking in a domestic, but the real future, and today we have to think on the global supply optimization to door. So in the past, we were focused on giving that port traceability in our port. We extend that traceability to our hinterland, and now the demands of the markets is the door-to-door traceability from end to end. So that implies a big synchronization and implies a lot of things in terms of traceability, standardization, and globality. In the past, we were talking about documents, that what happened in the past, documents and events. Today, or maybe today, we also transact documents that happens in the past, but what is happening now, but in the future, or maybe tomorrow, we also sharing the information what is going to happen. So this is another important fact. Not only the old data, live data, we are going to use the predicted data. Here, the use of the new mechanisms of machine learning and AI will be totally part of our daily work. In the past, we were more focused on integration, how to integrate our systems. Today, we also integrate and we also automate their systems to be more efficient. But also in the today and the future, we more focus on, of course, integration, automation, optimization. So using the information that is going to happen, we will be able to optimize our process to make our port more efficient. And I think that in the end, another important concept that I want to highlight in this part is that we were used to have a human making decision process where we have the information and then we'll be able to make better decision. But tomorrow, this decision will be taken by machines. So the concept of synchromodality, physical internet will be a reality. So the information will be received in some system, and the system will be able to make that decision on time to choose which is the best route or which is the best mean of transport to choose. So this is basically, I have tried to make a short path, a short route, what happened in the past, what is happening now, what is going to happen in the future in the data exchange in our system. So, and also I want to again to grab some words from Richard, say if we want to stay on the same place, we have to move. And here is what is showing. Here, if we want to be in the same place, we have to use and to adopt the new technologies and the new concepts to do what we have been doing during these years. So, in my previous slide, I made some comments regarding to PCS and the global trade systems or the global traceability. I present in the left side, you have the system of the PCS, where the multiple actors in the port connects to the PCS exchanging the information. So, but on your right side, in the upper side, I put on a slide from the Cassandra project in 2011, where the concept of the global pipeline was initially designed. The idea is to have this global data pipeline where multiple actors were able to publish this information. That was an idea, a concept that was presented in 2011, if I remember well. And now in the bottom of the right, you see, for instance, this is a picture of the trade lanes. Trade lanes, this is the initiative of IBM or Maersk. It's a distributed ledger based on the blockchain technology with the idea of publishing all the events from the end to end, from the beginning, from the origin to the destination. So here is more focus on the global traceability and the global optimization of the supply chain. And this is what we have to aim. Now the world is global and the supply chains are global. We have to look why. So the future will be how to create this global integration to end. So this is part of my thoughts of this slide. But however we have this idea in mind, we still have a lot of challenge. The same challenge that we have been facing during these years. We have challenge on the standards and normalizations about the semantic data and process. We all need to work and to understand the same thing. So this is a challenge to face. Another is the digital identity. Who is authorized? Who is the responsible? Identify the sender of the information is in the end the final, let's say, responsible of the action. So we have to trust on third parties in order to identify and to authorize the actors. Another issue is the legal framework. More if we are talking worldwide. So cross-border regulation. This is a nightmare because it's not the same, the regulations in Spain, Europe, that in Asia. So to make and harmonize this process always is really challenging. Another important issue is that something that we have been working for many years from the very beginning in the port communities is the change management, how to make these things to real change, how to make the change of sending information, how to make all the companies and stakeholders to work in the same way or trying to do in a similar way. It's a real challenge thing. Of course, there are a lot of things related to data ownership and data protection. Another important thing is about the value of the data, how to monetize these informations. This is part of the things that we have started to work on the network of trusted networks, how to make this evaluation of of the information. In terms of the how to make this governance, is the different governance models, how to make the governance between the sender, the receiver, the publish, the subscription, and finally, last but not least, is the cyber security. This is, for me, is one of the biggest concerns that we have. The information is there, but we have the threat of the bad ones very, very near us, and we have to be very care of all of this. So this is my presentation. I hope you find it interesting. I hand over to Hans, I think.
Yes, Javier, thank you very much for your presentation. And well, I remember the FP7 project, the Cassandra project, because that was the first time we met each other and became friends forever, I think. And well, the pipelines are well known, and these days we are talking about PCS communication and network trusted network. But we come back later to that in the Q&A. I'm sure about that. So I would now please introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker coming from Morocco, Youssef Aouzi. He is the CEO of Portnet today, and he will bring us into the world of their single window and trade facilitation. The great thing of the Moroccan system is that when you and I talk about single windows, we talk about maritime single window or European single window or customs single window. It's all business to government. But when we look and zoom in, and Youssef will do that, into the situation in Morocco, you will see that business to business, business to government, and the other way around is all handled by the single window of Portnet Morocco. So, Youssef, please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Hans, for your invitation to share with you our vision to the future of single windows. First, I want to share our deepest sympathies with the family of Dominique and our colleagues in MGI. We were heartbroken when we heard the sad news. Dominique was a friend and a colleague, and may he rest in peace. I just will first I will start by a quick presentation of Portnet, so everybody can keep with me with our presentation. So Portnet is a tool of the Moroccan government for the implementation of several sectoral strategies to improve the business environment, trade, logistics, and the competitiveness of our companies. Our governance involve all the national economic operator, and the importer and the exporter are in the center of our interest. Our vision is to become and remain a reference in integration of supply chain and the stimulation of international inclusive trade to include the sustainable development goal. And our mission is to constantly accelerate and inspire through innovation, the use of technology, and community intelligence, the competitiveness of Moroccan foreign trade and logistics. Here are some of our ecosystem figures. We are handling more than 120 online services for our businesses and community. We're having more than 60,000 users that are using our platform daily, and we are integrating a lot of administration, operators, ports, and airports also. Agents, shipping agents, and so many other type of users and communities. The future of single windows will be, I think there are three ways for the future of the single window. There are technologies, globalization, and also the integration. For the technology, there are ways to keep up with trending technology. As you know, we are in the fourth industrial revolution, and technology is evolving faster than ever. And Javier has pointed that there is a lot of new technologies, and companies and individuals that don't keep up with some of these major technology trends run the risk of being left behind. So single windows, among others, should prepare and grasp the opportunities allowed by those new trended technology, like blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data analytics, RPR, and also Internet of Things. Another new technologies that are used lots can be also the future of the integration of single windows is also API. I think API. So with this type of APIs, we can bring to our community a new open innovation platforms that brings data and APIs to our community, so they can use all this technological platform with an ecosystem that can be used for example, for big companies, inventors, startups, so they can bring new solution to our to their customer and to their companies using the data and the technological API platform that can be built by single windows in the future. There are also a race toward globalization. As you know, the digitalization of international trade began by the digitalization of all the players to the implementation of information system. So every player in the trade value chain has come up with a project to digitalize the information system and to enhance the internal processes and the quality of service delivered to their customer. By bringing those information system, they need to interconnect this systems. So we come up with the community system platform, like port community system, cargo community system, and as well as single windows. The scope of those platforms is connecting public and private actors, but at the national level. But recently, there is a need of globalization. Those platforms need to be connected. So a global platform are emerging to interconnect those platforms, single windows, community, cargo community system, port community system, to aggregate those networks so they can offer a door-to-door solution for their customer. So those one-stop platform, trade platform, can connect the public sector, international organization, private sector, with a lot of platforms like e-commerce platform, freight forwarder platform, port community systems, cargo community systems, banks, and also carriers and freight forwarder. And with this one-stop platform, we can have more services, more traceability, and traceability for all the shipments, for all the businesses, and have door-to-door services for all the shipments. I think Richard speak about network of trusted method. I think is one of the solutions for single windows to globalize. So with this solution, we bring this globalization to single windows, so we can bring information from other single windows PCS and network, trusted network, and we can give more services to our community here in Morocco. There are also a race toward integration. As you know, the by ship pay model distinguishes 3 different vertical classes in the technical infrastructure established to modelize the vision of the international trade with the Dubai, which is how we agree a contract with an importer and exporter, how to ship with all what we are doing in IPCS, like the organization of the import and the export in the port or airports, and also the pay, how we pay goods to the banks and trade finance platform. In Morocco, we are working in integration of this 3 type of verticals by handling several projects. For example, for the trade flows, we are working in a Portnet marketplace for our exporters, so they can bring more customers for their goods here in Morocco, and they can handle all the trade flows. For the logistic flows, we are working a lot with Portnet single windows in the ports, airports, so we can bring more logistic information in the single windows, so we can give more information to our customer how the logistic is working, and give them a lot of analytics about that. We are working also in the funding with the financial flows with trade finance. We are working in a project Trade Direct, Portnet Trade Direct, which is will help our community to digitalize all the trade finance operation with the banks and with their customer at an international level. I think this is for us the future as we see it here in Morocco. More integration here locally, so we can bring more solution for our communities, like the marketplace. More integration in the logistic part, so we can give more information about the supply chain to our customers, so they can automatize, they can digitalize internally and bring more automation in the supply chain. And also with the trade finance, I think it's very important to bring more solutions, simple solutions to our customers, so they can handle these payments very smoothly. And also for the globalization, the single window should integrate international trade platform, global platform, so we can bring more information to our community about what happened also at an international level. Thank you very much for your listening. I think it's okay for my presentation. If there is any question, I will be happy to answer. Thank you very much, Hans.
Well, thank you very much, Youssef, for your very broad explanation about the single window, the options, and what we are aiming for, and especially to global connection. What I forget to say in my introduction is that Portnet Morocco, in person of Youssef Aoussi, today is also our African representative of IPCSA. Next we move to air freight. A couple of weeks back, I had a meeting, a UN meeting, and I introduced the power of water. And apart from the power of water, where we all know the port community systems from, we should not underestimate what's happening in the air. Look today with the COVID-19 materials, which must be shipped from one place to another place in hours. fresh food, fresh goods, and don't forget about e-commerce. So I'm very happy that apart from the seaport community systems, we also can represent on the various levels the cargo community systems. And I'm very happy to have today online Amar Moore, CEO of Kale Logistics, operating, let's say, the Mumbai the cargo community system today. And I learned, Amar, a couple of weeks back that you're also now involved in Dubai, which is a great success for you, of course, and congratulate with that. And not forget, Kale Logistics is our Asia Pacific representative. Amar, the floor is all yours.
Well, thank you so much, Hans. Very good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are across the world. It's a pleasure to be talking to all of you at this very important milestone in IPCSA. I mean, the work that Hans and Richard are doing is phenomenal and pioneering, and we are so proud to be part of IPCSA. Also, you know, with all sympathies to our great friend, in fact, crusader of, you know, community platforms, Dominic, may God rest his soul in peace. And with this, you know, today I will talk about airport cargo community platform. Now, this is a very interesting subject. As Hans said, port community systems have been there for a very long time. I mean, there was a fantastic slide by Javier, which kind of explained to you the whole journey of port community systems, right? With air, although air is very time sensitive, you know, we always had a very different situation. Most of the community platforms that were created for the air cargo industry were created by the airlines. And airlines, by their very nature, are not centered around one airport, you know, or port, right? So they are multi-locational by nature. So when this whole digitization started in this air cargo space, and the whole journey around creating, you know, EDI or community platforms, those platforms in the early days were essentially facilitating digital transactions between the freight forwarders and the airlines, or the airlines and customs, right? So that was the scope of, you know, the community platforms in the air. There were a couple of exceptions. There was Cargonaut, which was created around a port, which is obviously Amsterdam. And then there was CIN, which was around Paris, right? So these were the only two things that came closer to being a port community system, right? But everything else was more like cargo community system, and the difference that Richard just explained, right? However, times are changing, as you know, Hans also explained, and we need to change. So in the air now, the focus is shifting from, you know, broad-based cargo community systems, which just facilitate a couple of transactions between one stakeholder and the other, to creating communities around the airports. And this is the journey that has been undertaken. And IPCSA is very active in promoting this kind of airport cargo community systems. And, you know, they're going to drive the future innovation in the air cargo industry for sure. So coming to the air cargo and, you know, the kind of challenges that, you know, we face in the air cargo business, which is essentially, you know, and I always jokingly say this, right? The first air cargo shipment was accompanied by just one document called airway bill. And today we've got, on an average, with each air cargo shipment, around 30 documents and 120 copies of paper and about 200 signatures, right? Even today, in this day and age. And though some of those documents are commercial invoice, packing list, letter of instruction, certificate of origin, master airway bill, house airway bill, etc., right? So over a period of time, you know, this whole thing got complicated. And I think most of the audience today understands the importance of the community platforms, of creating communities. But, you know, it is also important to note the journey that, you know, from a very simple paperwork, we have moved to a lot of complexity over a period of time. Another reason why, you know, this whole concept of airport cargo community system is coming into place, which is parallel of port cargo community system, is this high truck congestion at the airports, right? So a lot of airports, due to their very nature of catering to passengers, are close to or nearby or within the cities, right? And movement of trucks for cargo handling does create several restrictions, congestion around the airports. And in order to address airports, you need to create this kind of platforms that can streamline the flow of shipments, that can reduce this paperwork that happens, so on and so forth. Similarly, there's no shipment visibility, a single point shipment visibility to an exporter importer, especially when it is such a time critical and an expensive mode of transport, right? Air is an expensive mode of transport. So in terms of the quality of transportation, this is something that is very important. We have changing regulations. We have challenges around data security, and this is the funny part. Those who create these platforms are asked, what happens to my data security? But those who are trading on paper, they don't know that their data can be exchanged even without their knowledge by somebody working at a ground level, and that is a serious issue, right? Then there is this, inability to share data in advance with the cargo terminal operators at the airports. Actually doesn't help them plan their operations better. And since in air cargo, the goods have to move very fast, advanced information is absolutely needed for this airport cargo terminal operators for processing the data. So some of these challenges have actually led to this concept gaining serious ground, right? And another very important statistics for all of you, the air cargo stays on ground for 85% of the time. So the only reason for which the customer pays, which is faster movement, is only 15% of the total time. So to derive, there is so much value to be unlocked in air cargo through digitization or through the community platforms, that you will realize the potential. I mean, it's just 85% of the time the cargo lying on ground, right? And that's where we see the airport cargo community platforms gaining ground now. Now, what are airport community platforms? I would mark them as airport cargo single window. Okay, so all the stakeholders that are involved in the airport cargo operations or air cargo operations, providing them the single window of operation when they're dealing with air cargo. So whether it is importers, exporters, freight forwarders, transporters, banks, shipper consignees, all of them communicating through a common platform. Again, another important statistics that, most of this data across this 124 copies of paper is the same, and there is tremendous amount of data reusability. 67% of the data that's created by importer exporter in his system can be reused to generate most of these documents across the supply chain. That's the level of reusability that's available with us, and that's where one would like to seriously promote this whole concept of airport cargo community platform. Okay. Moving on to what these platforms do for the community. Essentially, when we're talking about the airport cargo communities, when it started, those were just the first generation communities, which were simple web portals at the airports for viewing flight schedules, right? And that was the stuff that kind of existed then. Now, afterwards, the journey moved on to creating the second generation ACS, which was all about creating this online terminal charges payments. So whatever payments used to happen at the airport started happening online. Then you had this truck dock appointment booking, that became a big thing. And concepts like Smart Gate, which is what Cargonaut put together in Amsterdam, and interface with customs. That's what was the second generation of airport cargo community system was. Now the next generation of airport cargo community system definitely has to do more, and that more means facilitating communication between the exporter and forwarder, between the airlines and forwarder, between the forwarder and customs, between the airlines and customs, and all these processes that happen at the airport, could be done online. including streamlining the movement of trucks at the airport. So whether it is electronic airway bill, electronic booking, electronic delivery orders, electronic consignment security declaration, connecting multiple airports through digital corridors. This is what we try to do between Mumbai and Amsterdam through a digital corridor concept. And I think, IPCSA's trusted of trusted networks is, something that really kind of aligns with that. And then advanced shipment information to cargo terminal operators, so on and so forth. You can integrate the certificate of origin and several other features. And that's the future. That's the next generation of airport cargo community systems that have to come into play, right? This slide just talks about, so how do I touch and feel it? What is there in the community platform? So these are all different features that will be available for stakeholders that are not available through any airport cargo portal today. Today, most of these airports have static cargo portals giving information about, their terminals, their facilities, and so on and so forth. So from that, they need to move into complete communities, which will provide a single window for information exchange or data exchange between these participants, right? So that's what it means, okay? And in terms of functional architectures, well, all of us understand that, most port community systems, cargo community systems, or airport cargo community systems should have a web portal that is linked to an airport's, website or, some other URL, right? It should have different utilities in terms of access on the handheld devices, mobile apps, automatic SMSs, WhatsApp messaging, right? And, payment gateways, right? They have to have the deep tech interventions of interfacing with drones, blockchains, and AI and ML. And I think I'll spend a couple of minutes on these deep tech interventions in air cargo community system as we go along. And then finally, other value additions of linking to other airports through digital corridors to grow business between the two airports. Bureau services, wherein you can convert, PDF documents into electronic data and move it between the stakeholders, connect to cargo handling systems, and then, connect to different stakeholder systems through EDI and APIs, right? So these are different fulfillment mechanisms, and this is the functional architecture of an airport cargo community platform. So let me spend a couple of minutes on, this deep tech intervention. So what can the airport cargo community systems do with drones, right? Well, at many of these airports, tracking the inventory or where exactly the cargo is, at which location, and that's very important, even for the e-commerce service providers, because for them, when the cargo is under their control on their planes or their trucks, they have complete visibility. But when it typically goes to the airports, they lose the visibility. So providing that visibility when the cargo is at the airport warehouses is possible through drones, because you are talking about multi-storied warehouses and multiple layers, and they're tracking the location of shipments by tracking barcodes through drone and maintaining inventory is one thing that we have tried out, and that's something that works. It also has wherever there are pilferages, these drones in the warehouses also act as a deterrent against those pilferages. So it serves the security purpose. Cloud-based, obviously, all of these solutions will have to be cloud-based, and that's the nature of the beast today. Or any community platform today which is not cloud-based has very limited reach, right? Blockchain. When you're connecting, two different airports or through two different community platforms through an airport, blockchain is that trusted, technology which can engender, that trust due to the nature of the technology. So that's something that we have done, when we created the world's first airfreight digital corridor, right? Artificial intelligence and machine learning, where can you use that? So, for managing the flow of trucks at the cargo terminals, wherein you have to do the dock assignment of the truck when the truck comes to the airport, well, that dock assignment can be based on artificial intelligence and machine learning. If there's a truck that's going from Atlanta to Paris, on every Tuesday, from DHL or Seva, or whoever is the freight forwarder, right? Now, if the system understands that it typically takes about 35 minutes at particular dock, Then when the system is doing the doc assignment, that's the time when you can use this artificial intelligence and do that, right? Similarly, those stakeholders who do not have the ability to connect their systems with this kind of community platforms, and they do not want to enter data onto the portals, for them to come on board and benefit from this technology, you've got another solution wherein you can extract data using OCR and machine learning and convert it into the format that's understood by the other party and send it there. IoT, this is another thing that we did. When vaccine was moving, it was important to track temperatures of the vaccines, and those temperature tracking devices, connecting it to the community platforms and then giving that visibility through community platform mobile apps actually improve the quality of transportation, allowed the vaccine manufacturers to know what the temperatures of the vaccines is when the vaccine is at the airport. So these are some of the use cases and deep tech interventions that we have experimented with in the next generation air cargo community system. So I'm not going to get into details of this, because I think I've got about 4 minutes left. But clearly there are commercial benefits, there are benefits related to business growth, and obviously sustainability and security. Clearly the airports can attract more airlines and more importers, exporters by having such kind of platforms which improve quality of transportation, right? There are different commercial models where the airports can actually earn revenues by providing this kind of digital services through the platform. And, it's a great marketing tool for most of the airports. It makes airports attractive, for other airports to do business, for the airlines to come down, the cargo airlines especially, and most important, sustainability. Reduce carbon footprint because of less consumption of fuel by the trucks, because of elimination of paper. I mean, we are doing a project at Mumbai Airport, which is world's most constrained airport, right? Wherein we are eliminating 6 documents per shipment, right? On the import side. Now, for an airport that has got about 6,000 shipments every day, this translates into elimination of 8 million copies of paper over a year, and that tantamounts to saving 1,500 trees. So that's the kind of impact that you can have by having such kind of a system in just one airport. Now imagine there are thousands of airports, at least about 400, 500 cargo focused airports. And that's something that can be delivered to the ecosystem. Operational efficiency, cost reduction, compliance. I mean, I don't want to, preach to the converted already, but these are the benefits that, all of us know the community platforms have. Whether you're a freight forwarder who is busy running from, these are orchestrators of freight. So they're busy running these documents from pillar to post. If they get a single window, so much of improvement can happen in their processes. Cargo handling agents know what's coming in when, and they can plan their resources at the warehouse better. And they can benefit immensely by reducing congestion and helping more cargo move through their facilities. And airlines, they have to comply with e-freight and several other initiatives in the industry. They can do that very easily as well, right? Truckers, who have to deal with 10-hour rules and all these other different kinds of rules, they can do that as well. Shippers and consignees, their inventory costs can go down, right? So I think with this, I'm coming towards the end of my presentation. I just wanted to tell you about Mumbai Airport, which is officially world's most constrained airport. It handles more than 1,000 flights on a single runway, right? They just have one runway and the other is just a fallback runway. And this is a Google Earth view there. This tiny little facility, which is equivalent to any individual forwarder's warehouse anywhere in Europe or in the North America, actually processes close to 1 million tons of cargo per year without any great material handling system. And the small lane that you see here, that processes 1,500 trucks a day, because the airport is in the heart of the city, right? And they're able to do that primarily because these trucks used to stand here, and then all the documentation of paperwork used to happen here. That's all happening before the truck even enters the queue. And truck enters the queue today with the truck driver having a mobile app and a QR code. And that's all that they need. And then they go and load and unload cargo. And that's how efficient it has become. So Mumbai, by the way, is world's most efficient airport in terms of cargo handling. And that has been possible only because of this thing that we've done. This project also received an award at the United Nations for doing this particular transformation. And I think that's it. Last 1 minute that I have, a brief introduction of Kale. Just like IPCSA, we celebrated our 10 years of evolving journey a few months back. We've got about 4,500 customers across 27 countries. We do represent on several industry associations. We have won 2 awards from United Nations, one for our airport cargo community system and one for our container digital exchange or Codex, right? And we created North America's first airport cargo community system, and now we are creating such systems across 20 other airports globally. So thank you so much for your patient listening. I'll be very happy to answer all the questions, and congratulations to all the founding members and Hans and Richard again on the 10th anniversary. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amar, for your extensive explanation about the air cargo and what's happening in the air cargo industry and the importance of that, and especially, of course, the trade facilitation you have to reduce dwell times, to reduce waiting times, and to get the cargo in time from one place to another place. Thank you so much, and I'm sure there will be questions afterwards. Our next speaker is Uwe Liebsner. Uwe Liebsner is our customers representative on EU level, I can say actually on global level, and well, he represents us for a long time already, and we are very happy to have him online today. Today, Uwe will not talk about the customs so far. Maybe during the questionnaire we can hit upon that, but Uwe will talk about our IPCSA family. A family, association formal, yes. Friendship, yes. Transparency, yes. But overall, IPCSA is a family, a real family. A family of system operators having the same view, same thoughts, same goal. Trade facilitation, enhance the trade facilitation. So, Uwe, the family is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Hans. Hello to everyone. I was thinking about to disappoint you, Hans, about my content, but now you said it to the audience that, yes, I'm not going to bore you now with customs matters. I'm more here to take you on a journey through a success story from 10 years of an association and, as Hans introduced now, a family. I'm going to share with you my slides. I hope it will work now. Share screen. There you go. All right, here we are. I hope you can see them. Good. So, yes, I like to invite you to come with me on a journey through the years from a little bit another viewpoint than Richard did it in the beginning. So let's start. As you can see, once upon a time in a kingdom, not that, yes? Right. Everybody can see it?
Can you just put it on full screen?
It is on full screen. Wait a moment. No.
You just need to click on one of the full screen top left hand icon.
No. Gosh. I can't find it. Wait a moment.
I see you hit the button on the right side down of the screen, but it doesn't work so far. So I would say, Uwe, just continue.
Okay. Wait a moment. Then we are going to start again. There we are. So yes. So I would like to take you on the journey through the last years from another viewpoint. So let's start. Once upon a time in the kingdom, not that far away, the Belgian participants in the webinar, they will recognize themselves. Some delegates of member states came together behind closed doors to discuss one issue. How can we be sure that the captain who is going to enter our port is a peaceful and calm one, and not Sir Francis Drake? So they found a typical European solution for that, to make the ports a little bit safer. They went out and said, let us force the salesmen to declare themselves that they are fine. That was the launch of the Blue Belt Initiative and the Reporting Formalities Directive, so a typical European story. At the same time, something happened in the headquarters of secret services around the globe. What do we need then? How bring safety on another level? The magic word was data. Where do we get that data from? So they went out and they organized their own G7 summit. Not in Cornwall this time because of too nice beaches for swimming activities. So they thought we should go or send our PCS agents to another unsuspicious place to launch our 00 mission or program.
Do you want to move your screen slides forward a couple?
Richard, was it for me now?
Yeah, for you. We're missing your screen. You haven't progressed any of your presentation. You might want to reshare your slides.
I think then I'm going to ask now Alex for going to the
PDF.
So there we go. Yes. Here we are. Ah, there we are. So, so they organized their own G7 summit, as I said, not in Cornwall this time because of swimming activities. It was more to have an unsuspicious place, and if you believe it or not, the six founding members of IPCSA came together in the entertainment district of Amsterdam. So I don't know what might be a better place to go for such an association. But then they asked themselves, we are 6, where is 007? And you can see 007 jumped into the game. It was Richard. There you go. 10 years later, where we are, from Hangzhou to Santiago de Chile, from Abu Dhabi via Djibouti to Casablanca, from Sydney to Los Angeles, from Mumbai to Odessa, from Tel Aviv to back to Europe. IPCSA and its members are recognized as a knowledgeable, supportive, constructive, trusted partner for All stakeholders means private and public. And not only in their local environment, we are recognized now worldwide amongst the leading organizations and institutions as a valuable partner. As you can see, I have listed now on my slide here some of them, and I guess Hans and Richard mentioned some of them. Because I'm the customs nerd of IPCSA, going to focus myself now on one of that names on the list. It is from the EU Commission, the Director General of Tax Suit, which is the responsible unit for taxes and customs. And since I joined IPCSA in 2013, we attended in I don't know how many work groups now and several other meetings on that EU level to bring in our practical experience. And I can tell you the naked truth, the Commission likes us, not because we are that nice people, or not because we are only nice people. It is more that we came at the right time, when also the customs organizations in Europe started to go on their way to the next level of digitalization and electronic and the implementation of new electronic systems. So it was the right time for IPCSA to come into the game and to give some experiences out of the field to the Commission. I state that nearly each and every time that in every meeting we are invited to, the community is the key and the driver of the success in and for our business. Community in the meaning of business, yes, but IPCSA moved on to the next level from community approach to really being a family. And I guess the previous speakers said it several times. In my initial presentation, I was up to present a slide with some thoughts about what we have experienced in the last years as the funny family. Means bars, dance floors, beach parties. But yeah, the sad news from the weekend. Let me take a hold. And I rearranged my slides to say thank you. When I met Dominic, we had a great time and a relaxed evening with a lot of funny moments. Thinking back, I have to say that he was what IPCSA stands for, and we can all be proud of. We are experts in our field, like Dominic. We are relaxed and positive people, like Dominic. We have fun together at the right time, yes, like Dominic. In my personal life, I connect a lot of things to music. This time, I've got immediately the well-known French chanson, La Mer, into my mind. So, Dominic, you will stay in our hearts, and you are part, you were part, and you will be a part of our family. Merci. We are not only here when we are talking about the family approach and the family, what we are established over the years, then I have to clearly say that, yes, it's a people's business. And I represent today one of the founding members here, which is DBH from Bremen. And DBH has sent as the other founding members some words of appreciation and to summarize the last years signed by our CEO. The message is clear. We are proud to be part of the family, and we are looking forward to the common activities for shaping the future together in the family. Last but not least, I would like to say a personal thank to the heart of the family, which is, or who is, not which, who is Richard. And I would like to do that with an example. The first time when Richard came along to visit me in my own house here in the woods on top of the Ora Mountains, he came in to my living room and he stopped for a moment and he said, "It's strange, but we have the same furniture." What I would like to say with that is that we are brothers in mind, and over the years we became very close friends. So thank you, Richard. And at the end of my very short journey through the years, I like to, even that we have that sad news for you today, I like to invite you all to say cheers with us and raise the glass, celebrate a little bit 10 years of IPCSA. And yeah, looking forward to take you on the journey into the future, as I said. So you are welcome to follow us on our way and support us. Thank you very much for your attention. Thanks. I hand over back to Hans.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Uwe, for your kind words, and especially the words towards the family and MTI about Dominique, a big loss for all of us. I would like to have all participants back now on the floor for the Q&A session, which will start as soon as possible. And we're waiting for a sixth one with this, in addition to our two-day session, and it's about our expert in standardization and harmonization, Nico de Kouwer. I hope he will join us very soon. There's Nico. And Youssef. So we are all back on floor now, isn't it? Just a moment. I need to do something, but I hope it works. Not yet, but okay, let's see. Thank you all for giving presentations, and Nico for joining us now, for giving some highlights on standardization and harmonization. I saw some questions in the meantime. I don't know whether they are particular for yourself, but okay, let's see how that will be handled. Thank you to the audience, and I hope the audience is still able to concentrate for the Q&A, because a session of 2 hours, normally when we see each other eye to eye, it's quite easy with the networking, with some coffee breaks in between. But sitting behind the screen and get concentrated on all the information you got, it's not easy. But thank you all for participating and being online, and see a lot of questions coming up. But before starting the Q&A session, I would like your attention for the Piet-Jan recognition. The recognition is in honor of Piet-Jan ten Tije, a vice president, a vice chairman of IPCSA, and who has taken, before his time in 2014, leaving behind a wife and family. IPCSA wanted to recognize Piet-Jan's passion, energy, and enthusiasm for ports, logistics, and community systems, and to honor his commitment to IPCSA. Me, as custodian of Piet-Jan's memory within IPCSA, instigated a recognition award of work done by individuals and organizations to support the development of IPCSA and who follow the value of Piet-Jan's had in his life. With today's sad news in our mind about Dominique, I would announce that for the 4th time, we reach out the recognition. This time to our anchorman in the field of standardization and harmonization, Nico de Kouwer. I see your smile, Nico. You didn't know this, but we knew. right? Nico has and is still supporting us in our goal for standardization. He actively represents us as one of the experts in the IMO4 harmonization work, and is a trusted representative of IPCSA, and is regularly called upon by the IMO to provide his insights and experience on standards and harmonization. Since the beginning of the work, originally managed by the WCO, Nico has actively participated in development of the work at IMO and is also leading the UN CFAC project for the update of the IFTTTM message. Nico, as a member of Protect and IPCSA, was one of a number of the IPCSA members who supported the integration of Protect into IPCSA. IPCSA is now recognized around the world as not only an advocate of standardization and harmonization, but an active player in supporting the international standard bodies to work together. And this is the biggest success Nico has had on behalf of IPCSA. Dear Nico, on this memorable day, and although under the sad circumstances, I want to congratulate you in name of our founding members, Richard and myself, with this well-deserved recognition. In the meantime, and I tried to get in contact with your and my big friend John Kerkhoff, will be at yours to hand over a present with all kinds of delicious things. The awards I will bring myself when I'm back home and allowed to visit Belgium, depending on the COVID-19 restrictions. Thank you, Nico, for your dedication and support. So let's see whether I can find John Kerkhoff. In one way or the other, he is not responding, but maybe it's my phone, I don't know. But he knows the time, so he must be around within a couple of minutes, I hope. Maybe he's waiting in your garden. I don't know.
Just checking.
Yeah. Right. So, very much pleased and congratulations, Nico. And in name of Piet-Jan, the award is yours. And I hope to bring it up to you within a couple of weeks and to celebrate it over there together. Of course, Erwin knows about it. But he couldn't be there because there's a board member today. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. Well, I tried to get to talk with John, but in one way or the other, it doesn't work. I'll try it later on. So let's see.
Thank you, Nico, for everything you've done for us. It's been great working with you. You answer WhatsApp messages every minute of the day, night and weekend that I send you, whether it's to do with standards or having a beer. So thank you for everything you've done for us on behalf of all of the members. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this award. This really means a lot to me, and yeah, like you said, I didn't know it, so I'm actually a bit overwhelmed. It doesn't happen that much to me, but even on my old age now, I can still be overwhelmed because that's a bit how it feels now. Yeah, of course, 10 years being at IPCSA. It's of course not only me doing some work, but it's actually the drive of the IPCSA family, the enthusiasm, also deepest beliefs in what we can achieve in supply chains through digitalization. It all inspires me to invest in and find the time to do something for IPCSA. So I have to thank all of you for your contributions, which makes my contributions much easier. Yeah, of course, also my deepest condolences and sympathies towards Dominique's colleagues, but especially his family. Yeah, so through this award and this appreciation, I think Dominique will always take a prominent place in our activities, our life, but also especially in mine. So with this award, I will always remember him as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well done. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
It's a real pleasure. In the meantime, I tried to contact John to find the whereabouts about John, because he should be on your front door, but I don't get connection. I will try again. Maybe Richard, you can take over for a moment the Q&A, because there are a lot of Q&As appearing. to our panelists. So would you be so kind to do so? Then I'll try to contact John.
Okay, thank you all. And thank you everybody for staying so long. We've got time for a number of questions. We have one from Michelle Lynch asking about your view on the current level of technology and adoption and maturity throughout the supply chain. And what do you think the immediate challenges being faced for those who are lagging behind? How are those who are not in the first phase of technology going to catch up? Yusuf, Javier, have you got any thoughts on that?
Well, it's difficult to say how to, but I think that if you are not in the technology, you will be out of the game quite soon. I think if you don't realize that, if you don't put your business into the digital world, I mean, probably in a few days, a few weeks, few months, maybe you'll be out of the game. I think this is something that we should consider quite clear. Unfortunately, maybe.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you, Javier. It's keeping up with the new technologies is very important for the logistic industry. And the supply chain. If it's not done, we can rapidly be out of the game. And we see that lots of new players, digital freight forwarders are coming that are using full digital to serve better their customers. So I think the adoption of technology is very important, so we can keep up with and not be disrupted with the technology.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Amar, what's your views? And add on to that a question from Joanne Waters, asking a question about with the move to the increased use of technology, do you foresee that there's going to be a skill shortage in the future? As they're seen in other parts of the supply chain. What's your thoughts on that, Amar?
So Richard, I'm sorry, I've just switched off my video, not because I'm not looking good now, but just to conserve some bandwidth, right? So very quickly, I think, Richard, in fact, all our members and port community system providers in general have a role, or we can play a role wherein those who are laggards or those who are a little unfortunate when it comes to technology, can we kind of take them along? Is there a method to take them along, right? Now, one of the ways in which this could be done is clearly, the port community systems or airport community systems or cargo community systems, their primary role is to facilitate digital interactions between different stakeholders, right? But could we make those platforms, as channels for rolling out something very basic in terms of technology, because most of these are cloud-based systems. So something that can help these freight forwarders or customs brokers, do some minimal operations on the cloud. I mean, those who are the have-nots of technology. Could that be done? I mean, that's something that I think we need to think about. We feel it is possible because to digitize the data and to exchange the data, you need to create that data, and that's something that can be done. I also believe that this kind of community platforms actually do democratization of technology, right? Because there are people who spend billions of dollars into technology for, data exchange, technology for efficiency enhancement. But if this kind of community platforms give the same ability to smaller players, then you are actually democratizing their technology. Now, let me give you another example. For example, when we started this initiative in a country like India, wherein people were still using typewriters to, generate their airway bills or whatever kind of documents, right? Or maybe very old legacy desktop-based systems. We had this challenge where they didn't want to come onto the portal and re-enter that data again, because they were either typing the data or creating that into some, standalone desktop-based system. and they had zero ability to develop APIs with the platform. So we said, how could we take these people on this journey of data exchange? How could we effectuate that? And that's where we thought about an innovation wherein they could just exchange the PDF copies of the documents that they created. We could, using machine learning and OCR, extract the data from those documents, convert it into electronic data, and move it across the supply chain. So I think, there is something that we all can do for those have-nots of technology, and just try to lift these guys a little bit. In fact, community systems can become channels for other service providers to roll out their small enterprise systems, so smaller systems that can get these guys who are still on paper-based operations onto this, digitization journey. So that's my view. Now, coming to your second question on skills and skill shortage, right? Now, when we talk about skill shortage, well, definitely, absolutely. You find that, in every aspect of logistics industry, including truck driving to, the CIOs, right? And that's something that we face and we will continue to face. So I think we need to work very closely with the, academia in the countries that we operate in, or maybe at an international level, and kind of come up with short-term courses which can get these different stakeholders a sneak peek into digitization or technology, and what these people can specifically do in their own job. What kind of technology adoption can they have? I mean, such kind of crash courses have already been taken care of in some of the leading business schools across the world. I know a few in France, and that's happening in several aviation universities. So yes, skill shortage is an area. As a technology service provider, you can move towards providing completely idiot-proof systems, as they say, or the other word to that is user-friendly. So systems that use any kind of user can use on any kind of device. So like the mobile phones or handheld devices, etc. And this is how we are going to address this skill shortage issue that we continue to face. So that's it from me, Richard. Thank you.
Thank you, Amar. I like the term idiot-proof. That's much better than user-friendly. And I think we have a short intermission while our delivery has arrived.
Yes.
Sure.
We switch back to Nico, and in the meantime, our secret agent, John Kerkhoff, and brought a big present to you, Nico. So we are very sorry that we had to cheat you and to get you online to say something about standardization and harmonization, but I hope you will stay online, because I see from the Swedish Maritime Administration a question about standardization, so maybe you can answer that. But in the meantime, John, welcome. Nico, I think you already got the present in the meantime. Not unpacked yet.
It's a bit heavy, so I don't know if I can present it for a very long time, but it looks like this.
Yes, and of course you need to put them in the fridge.
Yeah, I think I need to. Yeah.
And you're not allowed to drink any of them until you meet us next time.
Okay. Yeah.
It will be very short. I promise you. I will be able.
I'll buy an extra luggage then. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay. And as Hans says, there's nothing as a free lunch. So Ulf from Swedish Maritime Administration asked about how about standards to support future systems? What do you see the standards and future technology see? So you need to say a few words to justify being on the panel.
Okay. Of course, standards for future purposes are very important. Standards are there for a very long time already. In the last few years, people often said that there are no standards, which is of course not true, but they are not used often enough. But they're already there for 20 years. The the purpose of standards is getting more and more important, in fact. But also, in the last 5 or 10 years, we saw a huge divergence of standards. People also self-proclaiming their own standards, which is also a bit difficult in my opinion. But anyway, you have different standard data models. For instance, you have World Customs Organization, you have ISO, you have UNECE, and there are some others as well. So that became a problem in the last years. So we at IPCSA, we tried to search for some convergence again, where you can exchange standards and standard messages through the use of the different data models. And there comes, of course, the terminology of harmonization. Harmonization being sort of interoperable standards. So, which means that you have a message in one standard data model and one in the other, that you can communicate through different messages, in fact, but that you have your semantics, so that you know that the vessel name at the one hand is a transport means name at the other end. So that's a bit the importance where we are working towards in the last few years, but certainly in the next future of the next 5 or 10 years as well. So they will get more and more important, also because you have lots of different types of technology, and all those types of technology have to converge in one way or the other towards standards. So the importance will rise still in the next years.
Thank you, Nico. And now I think it's time for your bit.
Can I ask something from the native speaker to add to that point? Is harmonization from the same word family like harmful? So maybe that explains a little bit what Nico was talking about.
Thank you, Uwe. And while you're on, Uwe, you have a question, or we have a question on customs for you. So you don't get away with not saying anything either. So Yapa Bandara has asked that the real question of implementation of technology-enabled data sharing is coming from the government side, particularly the systems and customs. How do you think that the challenge of integration with customs systems, both for ports and airports, need to work? What's the biggest challenge for customs integrating with these ports and airport community systems? And that's from Sri Lanka, who uses Asakuda.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is, like everywhere, is communication and the community itself. So sit down together and talk to each other. That's the first thing. Maybe I can step a bit to answer that question a little bit more in detail, a bit back into our history of our company, DBH. I used to explain that very often because it's sometimes really surprising. We started our business in the PCS environment in 1973, and from the very first beginning, a number of stakeholders, and I tell you now the number, 110 came together to sit down and to work on a common approach. And within that 110, customs administration was involved as well. So only to give you an idea that from the very first beginning and from the start, talking to each other is, yeah, the main or one of the key elements. The challenges to bring the things together is, on the one hand, the legal framework, the right legal framework having in place. That means that customs is, on the public sector side, allowed to accept electronic data for each and every declaration. That's the first thing, to have, as I said, the right legal framework. And the second one, I guess, is then really to find on the public sector side the right mandate. That means who is going to be the driver in the whole activity to bring on the public sector side the involved parties and concerned and competent authorities together, and then how to drive that whole business into the direction of connecting the private sector side. And yeah, it makes no sense at the end when customs is going to establish a system, and now we are back again in that communication side, that customs is establishing their own environment, or the public sector side, and you are not able to talk to the private sector side, and vice versa. So that's why go together. Yeah, we can now talk for hours on that topic, I'm sure, but I don't know if I have answered the question a little bit in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Uwe. I have one more question for everybody to have an answer for before I hand back to Hans. Umar Mahmood from Pakistan has asked, how can IPCSA help governments to learn from other governments' experience in adopting single window, PCS and other technology-driven trade initiatives? I think that's quite an appropriate question. Us celebrating our 10-year anniversary, how do you, as members of IPCSA, see our support for those types of things? Joseph is probably the first one to answer that, and then over to Javier, Amar, Nico and Uwe before back to Hans. Joseph.
Thank you very much, Richard. I think we learn a lot from experience. We learn a lot from our colleagues in other PCS and other single windows all over the world. I think bringing up such organization with a lot of experience and historical experience in trade facilitation, standardization, harmonization of brings a lot of for us. I think from the point we joined the IPCSA, we started to see what is going in other countries and other organizations, so we can more prepare the future for our single windows and for our community. And we bring this experience to our community, so we can explain how you guys deal with a lot of problematics in ports, trade, so we can easily handle those problematic here in Morocco. So we use a lot of from your experience, and sharing that sharing that experience in such events and meetings we had with all our family from IPCSA was very useful for us to explore and propose new ideas to our communities.
Thank you, Joseph. Javier, any thoughts on how IPCSA can support organizations, governments on PCS and other developments?
I think that most of the things Joseph have already explained. I think that we have a lot of experience how we have managed all these issues in our country. And I think this is really well appreciated in my case, that I try to collaborate with some countries doing some advisory services. And what is really important is that what we share is the real experience. We are talking about actions, we are talking about facts, we are not talking about papers. It's more than a consultant, but so our experience is based on real facts, and this is what is really appreciated. That we used to say to the PCS is not an IT project, it's a change management project that you have to do step by step. When the countries and governments present that they want to build the system in 2 years, I think they say, well, you can build the system in 2 years, but put in place the adoptions and to do the things running, it takes years. It's nothing that you cannot do it night to day. So this is something that we used to say, we have to explain, and this is what is really meaningful for the governments to bring our real experience on the field.
Thank you, Javier. Over to you, Amar. What's your thoughts and what benefits have you had since joining IPCSA?
No, absolutely. Richard, I think IPCSA is probably the only organization where, as Javier explained, we have got on-ground, hands-on, people with on-ground and hands-on experience of implementing maritime community systems, the port community systems, air cargo community systems, and single window systems, like my friend Yusuf explained, right? So that's a repository of knowledge that resides within IPCSA. What we believe, and we kept telling our government and people involved into ports activity from the public sector side, etc., to join IPCSA to leverage this whole repository of knowledge and actual experience. I think IPCSA should also consider doing workshops, for some of these governments who would like to understand, the experiences, the best practices across the globe. So I think these are different ways in which engagements, could happen with different governments. But it's important that, people who want this to be implemented in their countries, they kind of tell their governments to become part of IPCSA, so that these governments can, or these entities, maybe, Richard, that Indian Ports Association is a member of IPCSA, right? And similar, port authorities, airport authorities could become part of IPCSA, and that will benefit them greatly. So, I would advise people to, speak to all those public sector entities responsible for implementing systems like single window, ACS, and PCS to join IPCSA.
Thank you, Amar. From a port authority side, Nico, and standard side, what do you see as what we can share with our experience to support other governments around the world?
Yeah, if I look to the situation of Port of Antwerp, a very recent example, in fact, is, yeah, for years we have connections with our different governmental agencies like Customs, Food Agency, and so on. But of course, apart from that, they also did their job for receiving declarations and all those kind of things. And quite recent, Customs came from their own side, came with the approach of we want to work only via a PCS. And so we are now setting that up like a sort of a gateway to government, not only for Customs, but also for the other ones, because they feel the need more and more to consolidate the connections, to consolidate the data that is coming into their system. So I think that's a fast evolution in what PCSs also are doing. Some of them already do that a very long time, but you have others who are evolving towards that that same situation. So so that's a recent example of where we as Port of Antwerp and can share our experience with other IPCSA members.
Thank you, Nico. And Uwe, Nico just mentioned about Customs in Belgium moving towards the PCS. And I know you'd had long conversations with both Belgium and other customs authorities around Europe. How do you see IPCSA supporting particularly customs authorities in understanding these things?
Yeah, I think we had a lot of talks with different layers of players in the field, and of course the public sector is more and more interested because they started to realize that digitization is also on their side one of the key activities for the next few years. I can now answer in bullet points. So we have to think about the speed in the clearancing process when it comes now to really to customs activities, speed in clearancing. How do we really monitor and create an environment of transparency? What is with our comprehensive risk management and rule management on customs side? Can we extend that by using other data providers and other data hubs to contribute to that and make our mandate of safety security to fulfill that mandate much better? So there are a lot of things. I would like to highlight when you ask me, how can IPCSA or how can PCS and single window operators give advice or help governments? I think one of the main, beside the technology and beside really electronic exchange of data, it is more to make clear that governments have to understand the concept behind the whole thing. And it is not only about advanced countries. So it is really understanding the concept and making clear that an analysis of the domestic needs is the key to move forward and have the right progress. When you are looking for PCSs and when you are looking for establishing single window environments. And that is then the last bullet point, interoperation. So it's not to replace existing good operating systems. It is more to connect them together and build up the linkage. So that is more, in a nutshell, my thought.
Thank you all for that. And before I hand over to Hans, I'd just like to say once again, Nico, thank you for everything. You're part of the exclusive club of myself, Uwe, Javier, and yourself with this award. And I'm sure when we can all meet up again, we can all celebrate together. Back to you, Hans.
Thank you, Richard, for taking over the Q&A while I was searching for our secret agent in Belgium to bring the package to Nico. So thank you so much for doing this. And I see in the questions, there are a few questions still open, but be assured that together with PTI, we will get the information and we will answer you on the questions. There's one special for you as well, Amar. You might have seen that. But we come back to that later. Thank you, Nico, of course, for joining us. Excuses that we had to interfere in your, well, relaxed sitting back in the garden with a glass of wine. That's the case. It's also my case today. I'm now having breakfast, and within a couple of minutes, I will go down to the beach and sit down and relax again. So, well, we are in the same mood, but you're in your garden and me at the Caribbean Sea. Thank you all participants for giving the approach and giving all the information about how you think about the future. What is happening in ports, what is happening in port areas, what is happening globally on air and on sea freight and on single window. So thank you so much for that. Thank you, PTI, for bringing us on to the floor, for being, let's say, the broadcasting this brilliant session today with no hiccups. So thank you so much for all work done so far, and we will be in contact with you soon again, of course. And last but not least, all participants, and I see there are still more than 100 online. 2 hours of concentrating on subjects, on questions, etc., etc. So I hope you had a very fruitful stay with us, very informative stay with us, and do not hesitate to be in contact with us to see how we can find ways to join and find ways to work together. Thank you so much for everybody, and I would say have a nice morning, daytime and evening, because we had participants from the US, from Europe, Middle East, towards Japan. So all over the ocean was looking to you all and participated in this session. Thank you and bye for now.
Thank you, everybody.